Okay, so let's just quickly take stock of what we've done so far, and in under 30 minutes. So obviously you can appreciate that if I wasn't talking to you and explaining everything, this could happen much more quickly. But what we've done is installed WordPress. We've then installed the theme that we would use. We've been able to install all of the functionality that we need on this website, or at least all of the essential functionality. And then we've created all of our pages and the navigation to navigate to them. So that's a lot in terms of framework and structure of the site. And so we're now at the stage where we can start filling up the pages and designing them and making it look like a fantastic website. Let's talk about the resources that we're going to need whilst designing pages on our website. Well, a website page is made up of different elements. Obviously, the most common ones are images, to get the attention and speak 1,000 words. We have the actual words, which would be what we want to say, and that should be considered and branded. And then most often the other thing that we would have is something like a link, a button, a call to action. Now, the first thing that we can turn our attention to, because it would be helpful to upload that to our media library right now, just so that it's there for when we're designing our pages, are our images. Now, for this project, I have a few images together. Now, this is a yoga project, but you would have something such that suits the trade or business or services that you are creating a website for. So this might be a really lovely picture of a house, or a new kitchen renovation or something like that. But it's important to choose what type of image you have. So this is a great image for the front of the website. The hero image is what it's called. And you will know this, often these images are full width. They have a nice attention grabbing headline and then a call to action, which would be something like a button that would say something like call now or get a quote or, view services. It depends what you've decided that should be. Now, this is a great image for that because there's no contrast here. There's lots of open space, and yet it's very attention grabbing and colorful. It pulls you into it. It gives you a feeling and a vibe and something, it speaks to you. Whereas if we had the same sort of text over here, this is very busy. It's much the same color. It's not like there are lots of different dark and light patches here that would make viewing the text difficult, but it's still a very busy image. Other than that, also, if we've got the text here, it's going to cut off most of the heads probably, and then the call to action would be here, which is right in front of the main focus of the image anyway. It doesn't make sense really as a hero image. If we look at this one, it's not the best example, but you'll see what I mean. There's lots of light to dark. So if you have light text here, it's a bit more difficult to read over these patches. If you have dark text, there's not much you can do. The contrast there is going to fail at one point or another. Still, I would say you could probably do more with this one, but it shows that choosing the correct images for the correct purpose of the design element is really important. So these are the images that I've chosen, and I'm just going to nip that off to the side and so that I can show you where I got them. So skipping that away, you can get free images for your projects by going to somewhere called Pixabay. Now there are others. There's also Pexels and a few others which have a few more wacky ones. But the main thing is you just want to double check that you're allowed to use them on a commercial website or something like that. But Pixabay is actually fantastic, and I'm very sure I got this one from there. And so let's have a look. So if you are doing something for renovations or so kitchen installations, so building work, house renovations. Let's do that. Don't forget that the main image that you want to put on something like a hero image, the front of your website, would be something that's very attention grabbing. It wouldn't so much be something like this, because it's a good image. That's one to maybe use on the about page or something like that, showing that you work in a nice, neat, tidy way and that sort of thing. But usually you want the hero image, the main image for your website, to be something that conveys where you want the customer to get, or where they want to get. Focus them on the solution. And so for something like that, you would, so you wouldn't have that and then a headline saying something like, want to make improvements to your home? I mean, that's kind of all right. But actually, you want to show them an image of a beautiful kitchen, which would make them think, oh yeah, that's what I want. John, isn't that what we want? Kitchen design. Let's have a look at that. So there we go. We start to paint the picture of what you could have. This will be quite lovely. Obviously, pictures of kitchens are going to be a bit more busy, but that's rather nice. The focus is here, and then up here is open for text, and that would be a good full width image. The other thing you want to do is look for landscape images. Whereas what might not be so good, this wouldn't be so great as a banner hero image, because there's lots of light dark contrast, and then additional to that, there's no real focal point. So I would say that central low focal point is really great for banner pictures. But then of course with the yoga one, you could get rid of something like you could get away with something like a lovely mountain scene, because you're talking about where you want the state of mind to be. That wouldn't work with a kitchen. So let's actually look for yoga. That's quite lovely. Oh, that's my point there. Someone there, I've got that image, and there, got that one. Fantastic. Okay, so if I was looking through here for a yoga hero image to use on a website, I would think, wow, that's a good one, and I would click on that. And then what we've got here is free download. So I would think that's a good image to use, and free download. So now we know where to go for some free images and to find some really quite lovely ones. We know how to maybe make a wise decision in what we want to choose. Now we want to think of something called image optimisation. And I will show you what I mean here. So when you use an image on your website, it actually has to communicate in data. You'll understand that in terms of phone data. If you're downloading a video on your phone data, you use up more of it and it takes longer. And so it's really important to try and keep file sizes as small as possible. So if we look here, we've got 640 by 426, 640 by 426, and that's 44 kilobytes. That's cool. But on most websites, if we use a small image if we use a small image and stretch it to a bigger box, we're going to lose a lot of quality. It's going to look very pixelated. What we actually want to do to make sure it looks sharp and really good quality is we want to use it a bit bigger than what resolution it might be displayed at, and then it would just be compressed down a little bit. So 1280 I find is generally quite good. Between 1200 and 1400 tends to do well in terms of keeping good image quality on a desktop website page. You can see the size difference if we were to up that from 1920, and we would have to have that downloading off our website. So this will be the preferred one for me. So we're going to download that. Okay, so I've downloaded it to my computer and I have it here, and we've got it 1280. And if we look at the info here, come along, we've got 153. Now that's still a bit too big, and we want to maintain the size. It's an appropriate size, but we want to make the file size a bit smaller. So what we're going to do is go to somewhere, and again this is free to use, go to compressor.io. Okay, so here we are. This is compressor.io, and it is as simple as it looks. We simply take the image that we've downloaded from Pixabay, Pexels, wherever you'd like it to be, or maybe it's one that you've photographed yourself, which is better. We drag it in. What we can see here is that before it was 149 kilobytes and afterwards it's only 48. That's absolutely fantastic. So we've saved 67% on our file size. Now, that's great. So what we're going to do is download that. Now, the other one you might have heard of is TinyPNG with the Panda. I've been using the Panda for years, and I have to say, unfortunately, I did a few tests and this one wins out. So it's not as pretty, it's not as cute, but it does win. Okay, so here is the one that we have just downloaded, and I'm going to open both of those in preview. There we go. Now, obviously, you know, you're looking at it via through a few different screens, but the question is, can you really see any difference? And I'm sat here looking at it. I can see a few little pixelations when I click onto this one here, which is a lower quality. It's a smaller file size, but nothing that makes me concerned. The other thing is that this would typically be displaying at a smaller resolution anyway, so something a bit more like that. So I'm really not worried, and for the file size difference, I think that's really fantastic. So I'm going to close that up. I have no more use for this clunky thing, and that's the one that we could use. As it happens, I've got them anyway, already compressed here. And so I have selected and optimized a number of images here. So first of all, I have the logo, Rebecca Yoga Meditation. I've got a light one and a dark one. I have chosen my hero image, and you can see that I've already had it compressed. I then have different images for my services. So here we have group yoga. We have private yoga. I think that works quite well. And I think that might actually be another outdoor yoga, something like that. Yoga at the beach. Join the class. And then, of course, we have the about image here, which is a nice little about shot. It's very friendly, eye contact right there. A very simple shot. And again, this is actually bigger than it would need to be. So I could reduce the size of that if I felt like I needed to. But, you know, especially as this is a demo site, I trimmed it to 1024. But it's still quite a good file size there. Anyway, what I'm going to do is, because I have pre-planned and gotten all of my image resources together, I would simply like to upload those to the website so that it's just there when I'm designing. So I'm going to click on media, and that will take us to the library. And the great thing about WordPress is that we're simply able to drag and drop all of our images into the library. So we could click add new and do a file search, but I'm just going to select like this and drag them in. Ba-ba-da-bam. Okay, there we are. That's how simple it is to add all of our image resources to the website, and they are now there and available in our media library for us to use whilst designing our pages. We don't need to think about it anymore. The best thing is that it took just a few minutes to optimize these, taking into consideration the size of their display on the website, and also whizzing them off to compressor.io. So fantastic. We're ready to carry on with the build with a bunch of lovely images as great resources. Hey there, it's Chris here. Thanks for watching the video. Please do like and subscribe and share and comment if you haven't yet, and I'll see you in the next course video.